So we're recording now, and then I'm just going to play a little funk here, and we'll get started. Hello and welcome to Morning Fuel. I am your host, John Bundy, and you are here because you believe in the power of the spoken word and its ability to change lives, and that by sharing our stories, we can help others overcome challenges that they cannot overcome on their own. Whether it's a victory you need to win in business or in your own personal life, you understand that answers can be found in listening to others who are willing to share their stories, knowing that their story ultimately doesn't belong to them. All right, today's guest, a good friend, longtime friend, business mentor, and serial entrepreneur, currently runs an alternative to burial company. We'll get into that in a little while. This is far out. But my good friend, Brian Bayford, we've had him on the show before. Brian, really appreciate you coming and doing this again. And I just kind of want to hear more about your recent exploits and then what's going on with the company. Tell us again, for those who haven't heard, what is your origin story? Talk about how you got this idea, and then also go back before that and say, what was your first business? Why did you get into business and all that kind of stuff?
Not a problem. I have to tell you, I'm exceptionally impressed that you did that entire thing without like a teleprompter or anything.
Oh, okay.
You had that stuck in your head.
Oh, man, I hope so.
That's just impressive. That was awesome.
Cool, good.
So
that.
Reef and Peace came about, really I was started with an idea from my father. I went to visit my father in Virginia Beach. He was doing something in his workshop, and I asked him, I said, Dad, what are you doing? He said, oh, I'm mixing peat. I said, what do you mean you're mixing peat? He said, well, this is my best friend's Pete's ashes, and I'm putting him in a bucket of cement because he wants to be in his favorite fishing hole. And I said, Dad, you know that's illegal, right? And he said, yeah, but nobody enforces that. And I just, went back home and thought about it and thought, it sounds like an opportunity there. So I did a lot of investigation, several years of it actually, and through the EPA and Army Corps of Engineers and the VMRC here in Virginia, and then right now we're working in Texas, Florida, South Carolina, and Virginia, so we have reef sites in all those places, and so there's different laws and hoops to jump through in every different state, and we're through all the hoops and doing business, and it's been great.
Wow. So kind of describe a little bit more, again, for those who aren't understanding that. So what we got here is we have an alternative to burial,
right.
which are, pretty much sea or ocean deployments,
yes.
right? And you're putting people's ashes in concrete. Explain that a little bit. I mean, it sounds kind of mafia to me. I mean, originally from New York. I mean, it's kind of like
I'm from Jersey. Putting people in the ocean. Yeah, putting people in the ocean. Right. Concrete's what we do.
Yeah, right.
So what we do is we manufacture a memorial made out of crushed oyster shells and coral calcium, and concrete also. And then there's holes in the side of that for. It's about 250 pounds, but there's holes in the side of that for small fish to hide and thrive. And, the whole product in itself creates structure at the bottom of the ocean, which gives fish, something to be around. They don't want to just be around a flat, sandy bottom. We're actually attracting fish and helping the fish populations. And then on the very bottom of it is another hole, and that's where we can receive people's cremated remains from anywhere in the country. So they send us the cremated remains. Those remains go into the bottom. It's then capped, and then it gets placed on one of the reef sites that our customers can choose from.
Right. So this isn't just, tie in something or you're not mixing it in with the concrete.
No.
This is a separate capsule that goes into this concrete
inside
form,
the middle
tetrahedron with holes for the fish. So you had said this before, and that is it's environmentally beneficial. It's not just not harmful to the environment. It actually benefits the environment because of the materials it's made of, with the coral calcium, crushed oyster shells. Wow, so cool. Now, so then that memorial then has a plaque. Yes. On top of it, and people can actually, at some of the reef sites, swim.
Yes, so in Florida we've got 18 to 21 foot of water, pretty clear water. Our site in Virginia is 36 foot of water, and it's kind of, you're not going to really see it.
Right. Virginia water, yeah.
So I tend to steer most of my customers towards Florida, just because it's on a good clear day you can actually look down and see them.
Yeah, fantastic, and then also snorkel. or if you can scuba dive,
Or dive, yeah, absolutely.
Wow. That's interesting. So and then Texas the same way. So off the coast of Texas. Wow.
Destin, Florida. So we're Destin, Daytona, and Port Charlotte.
Okay.
And then where were we?
That's Reef and Peace. Excellent business. We're gonna mention that in the show notes and all that. But the reason why we do business with people is we know them, we like them, and trust them. You're a serial entrepreneur, man. You've talked with me about business before. You've had multiple businesses. When did you start your first business?
First business would have been a video arcade in the 80s in Newport News, Virginia.
What, an arcade where you can go and play video games? Oh, wow, okay.
Pool and arcades, yeah. It was great. I was working full-time for a water company and went there at night, and all I had to do really is sweep the floors.
Right.
And it worked out pretty well.
Gotcha. Was it all business from there? I mean, were you always in business for yourself? Did you work for others?
I worked for a lot of other people, but I prefer being in business for myself.
So then this is the part of the podcast that is the one that is most watched, and that is the What the Fail. So the WTF part of the podcast, the stories of the difficulties that led to triumph. The things that we overcame, those things that were a mountain, a wall that
Sure.
we broke through or went around, or some, can you share one of those events in your life that, personal or in business,
Sure.
that could have taken you out but did not?
Oh, I've had a lot of those.
Yeah, sure. Well,
So, I would say, hardships that I've had, of course, over the last 22 years. I've lost 2 wives, and that's been just an insurmountable wall to try and come up against. And it's been 2 years and 2 months and a few days since my wife Dorothy passed away. And so it's been a hard 2 years. But I'm also in the process of writing a book called Give Up Never. And that was her saying.
wow, fantastic. Yeah. Well, what a legacy.
Yeah.
So have you always been a I don't know. I mean, a realist, an optimist, a pessimist. I mean,
I've pretty much always been an optimist.
Okay, all right. You can find good in anything then.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, all right. And then, so from that challenge, those challenges of losing your wives, and again, I can only imagine, you're still having to provide for your family. You still have family. You have children. You have grandchildren.
Well, all my children are grown right now, and I have 22 grandchildren.
Wow.
Yeah. Christmas is very expensive. I'll probably never be able to retire. And 23 is in the oven. My son Justin and his wife Elisa have a child on the way in February. So, I'll have 23. And one of my daughters, Sierra, she hadn't even started yet. So, yeah.
And is she your youngest, Sierra?
She's my youngest biological, yeah.
Okay.
We adopted three girls. So,
okay.
That's a whole nother challenge in itself.
Sure. That's fun, though.
And, in times of developing businesses,
like
in the past, as I've been developing different, whether it was a restaurant I owned or bar I owned or different things I've done, I've gone bust on a lot of them. And, I've been from homeless at one point in my life, living on friends' couches from couch to couch, to doing very, very well. Our biggest company was WaterPro, a company that my wife and I started with a desk next to our bed, and we built it to 25 employees in corporate buildings and built that very nicely. So I've been at the very bottom, and I did okay too. So I've been I think that gives me a strong foothold to just continue to build from, because I wasn't born with a silver spoon in any way, shape, or form. I've had to work for everything I have.
Yeah. And so what I'm hearing in there too is you obviously must like the journey, because it sounds like you're on the journey most of the time. There's no destination here, and you seem to be enjoying yourself when you're creating these businesses.
And when other people talk to me about business, I get so excited. I just love talking about business.
Yeah.
And how to develop it, how to grow it, how to make it bigger and better.
Right. Wonderful. Very cool. How do folks reach out to you on social media? How do they get a hold of Reef and Peace? Or
if you put Reef and Peace in any social media, we are all over it. But
okay.
They can also go to reefandpeace.com.
and real easy to get started if they have the remains of Aunt Mabel on their mantle, or or mom or dad, kind of sitting around and they don't quite know what to do with this urn. Here's an option for them to do something that is not only unique, but and a story to tell, but it's also environmentally beneficial when it comes to
helps the environment.
ecosystem. Yeah, wonderful.
And most of our customers, almost every one of them, I believe, at this point, is from a family who's had somebody sitting on the shelf for a long time, from a few months to 10 years. Because generationally, people's kids and grandkids don't want those remains handed down. They don't know what to do with them.
Right.
So at least this is a better option for them, doing something good for the future and the environment.
Right. And then it's also, again, a story. It's something cool to say, that was done. And I can see how that can catch on. Now, this isn't a new to you idea, but yours, what would you say is a differentiator with your product?
One of the differentiators is that we have several locations to pick from, not just one. We are much more affordable.
Okay.
And on top of that, we're using that great mixture that really grows. So I did 33 or 35 test modules, putting them in different situations: salt, very, very high salinity water, or low pH water, different mixers, and just to see how they're going to last. And now I pretty much have it down pat to where they're going to last forever.
Right.
And so we're not just using concrete. Two of the other companies that do it also put more than one person in one memorial. We're doing one person, or I can put a husband and wife in a memorial if that's what they choose.
Gotcha.
And I think that really sets it apart with personal touch.
Excellent. And so you also said it's 250 pounds. So this is sitting on the bottom of the ocean. It's not going anywhere.
No.
And you can pretty much drop a pin in it when it comes to map on
Yes.
Google Maps or whatever, and revisit that location.
Yes.
And all that's wonderful. So what's the future look like for Reef and Peace? Are there other reef sites? Is there anything new going on?
I'm working on being able to do this in Thailand.
Okay.
So that's my next venture. I ran into an investor who wants to do this in England. So yeah,
fantastic.
Lots of opportunity.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. So wow, so you get a world of destinations.
Yes.
For eternity. That's pretty cool.
It is.
That is pretty cool. So let me ask you this, Brian. What does Brian Bayford and Reef and Peace need most right now?
Really, I'm capable of doing probably 100 of these a month right now, without increasing my staff anymore. So yeah, I definitely need some more people to go to the website and take a look at it, or
Gotcha.
go to the social media sites and look at what we do.
Fantastic.
And talk about it. I need people to just talk about it.
Oh, sure. So telling those stories and having those out there that people can share
Right.
is one way to do that. And reefandpeace.com, REEFNIN, so RIP.
Yes.
That's great. That's great. How did you come up with that? Who came up with that?
Because it works perfectly with rest in peace.
Sure.
So,
Who came
Reef
up with
and
the
Peace.
idea? Who came up with the name?
That was me.
That was you. Fantastic. Awesome, man. Well, Brian, really great talking with you. And I do want to leave the listeners at least one, because I know you're a coach. You're definitely a business coach and can be, and you just kind of
I fall into that.
It just comes out of your pores,
Yeah.
So what is maybe one piece of information that has stuck with you that you kind of live by when it comes to running a business and not giving up? Give up never.
Right. Always do your best to be the best, regardless of what business you're in. Set yourself apart from the other, whatever competition you may have, and do it better than them. And always look out for your customers 100%. They're the most important people in your company is your
Right.
customers. So looking out for customers.
Right. Fantastic. Brian, I really appreciate you. I'm glad to have you as a friend.
Good to be here.
And let's see what happens, man. Can't wait to see what the future for Reef and Peace is.
It's going to be a big year this year.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Thanks,
Great,
John.
man. Thank you.